Hi, everybody. I hope you guys are having a great day. It's a Monday, so it's kind of fun to start the week off with a live chat on Game of Thrones. And as you know, I'm Obi-John Kenobi, aka AU Pack Mule, aka John, and I'm joined by two awesome Game of Thrones YouTubers, followers, etc., knowledge masters, and one of the persons I've been working with for a while. I've been following for a while. I've been supporting with them, and that's Ser LT. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Ser Lt Giles here, and it's an honor to be on AU Pac Mills channel. Like he said, he's been following the Hype's Watch and a big supporter of mine since the beginning, and it's just a pleasure and honor to be here.
And then we also know LavLav from the chat, who's been around forever. I think every time we come up with a theory, she agrees with me, and I agree with her, and it's always fun to chat with as well. So, Lav, would you like to introduce yourself?
Um, Not much to say. Hi guys. If you know me from the chats, that's about all I do. So nice to be here with you guys.
That's awesome. Glad you're here. I really am. You're just full of a lot of knowledge, and plus you bring up the beauty factor of the broadcast, so we need that as much as possible. So we're going to talk a little bit about the Maesters, and one of the things that started this was I was reading The World of Ice and Fire, which was supposedly written by Maester Yandel. And when I was going through this, I also had a couple of experiences where we've seen the Maesters interact with the different characters on the show. And the first one I'm going to talk about a little bit is Maester Luwin, who is from Winterfell, of course. And I just kind of want to get your opinion on what you thought when you saw Maester Luwin interact with the Starks and doing the counseling and the teaching. Lav, if you'd like to go first, that would be great.
As far as, do I think he's a good guy, or?
Well, yeah, when you saw him, did you think, hey, this guy's got something, when we see characters like Melisandre or Stannis, they always have a hidden agenda, so.
Well, I am one of those people who think the Maesters have a hidden agenda.
Stannis, they always have a hidden agenda, so.
I am one of. Is it just me, or are you hearing an echo?
Yeah, I was hearing a repeat, but I don't hear it now.
Okay. I am one of those people who think the Maesters have an agenda. Luwin, I always got kind of a good feeling about. I know some people, don't like how he opens their mail, and there's those kind of questionable things, but that seems to be something that all the Maesters do. So Luwin, I did always get a good feeling about him. I don't feel like he's like he was a nefarious character. I mean, he's dead now, but yeah, I like Luwin. He's all right.
Yeah, I like him a lot too. I thought he was a really sincere, genuine man in regards to how he reacted to the letters and working with the kids. LT, what'd you think?
Well, being a Stark fan from the beginning, I definitely like Luwin in the books and in the show. I felt like he was family to them. I mean, he cared for them, and even I don't know. Maybe this is just the way I see it, but I felt like he even cared for Theon. You remember when Theon took over Winterfell and he was trying to give him good advice and tell him to join the Wall and counsel him and stuff. And I felt like he was kind of disappointed in Theon too, what he was doing, but trying to be smart about it. And then there's always a scene in the Godswood when he's dying, and he tells the boys to separate. I mean, I think he really cared for him, probably more than most maesters out there, But they are, like, if you think about it, the Starks are like the first family of the book, I mean, all of them are POVs, basically, not all of them, but most of them. So, I mean, he probably does I just got the vibe that he really cared for the Starks.
Yeah, I did too. The only thing that I thought was kind of interesting about him was that he always wanted people to go to the wall. If you remember, Theon, he encouraged to go to the wall. I'm trying to figure out, I can't remember off the top of my head who else it was, but that was the only thing I could see where he was pushing people to go north to the wall to serve.
Wow.
But other than that, I didn't see him.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. I got a thought. Now, this is still on topic, but all right. So we don't know why Benjen went to the wall. We suspect. Could have Luwin played a big part in, whispering in his ear and encouraging him, And I just thought about that when, you're talking about he wanted people to go to the wall.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think he had a factor to play in that because he counsels the family. So that's one of the reasons why I brought it up. So the other...
sorry. I was just going to say I never thought about that before, ever.
Really? Okay.
Till now. No, yeah, till now.
Cool. So Maester Cressen is another one that we get introduced in season 2. He's at Dragonstone with Stannis and Melisandre, and we know how that ended up. What was your opinion of Cressen? LT, you want to go first?
Oh, yeah. Just such a sad story, man. I mean, it's more sadder in the books, how they put that crown on his head and kind of make fun of him and basically, not exile him, but just treat him like he's nothing. And you see that, from being inside his head that he loves Stannis and Renly, and even Stannis the most. And just the way he's treated and, it's a very sad story how he goes out, like basically suicide, trying to take out Melisandre. But again, he's kind of like Luwin, as much as loving Stannis and wanting the best for Stannis, and knows that something's up with Melisandre. He doesn't know, but he knows that she's probably evil, and that's still to be determined if she's not or if she is. But at that point, forsaking the gods and everything and going to R'hllor. You just feel for Cressen. It's a very tragic story.
Yeah, Lav, what did you think about Cressen when you first started watching season 2?
Well, I completely agree with LT. It broke my heart. His story broke my heart. He was a loyal servant to Stannis. He advised him, and to just have that all kind of just thrown out the window, for this new, and I mean, it's no secret. Everybody knows how much I hate Melisandre. I cannot stand her. So I was on his team the whole time. And then for him to just be cast aside so callously, it broke my heart for him. And he died trying to do what he thought was right and trying to save his lord and trying to save his people. And so I can't, how can you hate that? You can't hate that.
Yeah, I love his story, especially considering he's not a foster father, and he isn't given credit for that, but he really did raise Stannis and Renly, and we never hear anything bad, about him as far as other than the fact that he's old, but he was really good to the kids. He seemed like really good with the youngsters even. So I really didn't see a vibe from him in regards to any kind of a conspiracy either. The next Maester I want to talk about a little bit is Grand Maester Pycelle. So let's go back to John.
Maesters have a hidden agenda.
Sorry. Hey, Lav.
No,
it could be. I don't know. No big deal.
Whoever it was, it's not me because I can't play. You got to mute YouTube. Whoever is, yeah.
I am one of those people who think the Maesters have an agenda. Luwin, I always got kind of a good feeling.
Yeah, just hit your screen. That's the YouTube's playing, where the chat is, and then mute that page.
Questionable things, but that seems to be something.
It happens to everybody, so don't worry.
So
right, LT.
Yeah, except me. I don't have a computer, so I can't have anything. But anyways, Pycelle. What a fucking faggot. I'm sorry for my language. I hate this guy. I hate him because he's a conniving coward. He like lied to, and I didn't really have much to say about Aerys Targaryen, but he told Aerys Targaryen to open up the door, and it's his basically him that he's responsible for the Mountain and Emery Lorch killing the Rhaegar's kids, you know, and just pillaging, raping and pillaging everybody and killing everybody. And it's like that bastard. He's always been loyal to Tywin and Cersei. He's just loyal to the enemy, and he's just a scum. And it was so awesome in season 2 when Tyrion cut his beard off. And if anybody, you know, if we're gonna get into the Maester conspiracy, if anybody knows about it, this bastard knows about it because he's a Grand Maester.
I don't hear you, John.
Yeah, I don't hear you either, John.
How about now?
Yeah, there you go.
I got so excited with LT's channeling Tinker that I must have hit the mute button. Sorry. So, yeah, I agree with you 100% on Pycelle. He's just a super creepy old guy, especially considering he's supposed to be celibate. I just thought it was funny how he's just a sneaker on the side. So,
You know what I didn't mention though? Let me go on to this. All right, here's on the flip side of things, and I just thought about this. Okay, so how I say Luwin cares about the Stark children. Hey, he probably cared about Joffrey. He probably cared about Marcella. He probably cared about Tommen. He probably even cared about Jamie probably. Well, Jamie's always been in the count. He probably cared about Jamie. You know, I mean, we don't know because this is off book. But I'm assuming he delivered all those kids, just like Maester Luwin delivered all the Stark children. So if you want to look at it from the other side, he probably did love the Lannister / Baratheon kids. You know.
well, at Casterly Rock, they did have their own Maester.
No, but all the kids were born in the capital, so Maester Pycelle's been with all the kids since they were born.
Good point.
Yeah. And Jamie's been in King's Landing since he was like 17 years old. So what I'm saying is he probably, every time Jamie got hurt, he probably healed him, and who knows if he even cared about Robert or not. I mean, he's always been loyal to the Lannisters,
Lav, you have any thoughts on Pycelle?
I mean, is there anybody who likes Pycelle? I have yet to run into somebody who likes.
He was great in Star Wars.
I mean, Pycelle is kind of the embodiment of what's wrong in King's Landing. Everybody is a hypocrite. Nobody's vows mean anything. Everybody's sneaking around. Everybody has their own agenda. Everybody says one thing and does something else. And Pycelle kind of just personifies that for me. Everybody else is kind of sneakier, but you see it more with Pycelle. Like you're not supposed to have. He's supposed to be the maester for the entire kingdom. He's supposed to be the best for the entire kingdom, and he doesn't. He decides to throw his eggs in the Cersei basket for some reason, and that's who he worries about. And it doesn't matter if it's good for the kingdom or not. So to me, that's Pycelle. He really throws it in your face how messed up King's Landing is. So don't like the guy at all.
Any chance at all that he is Jaime and Cersei's father?
Pycelle?
Well, he's loyal to House Lannister,
Yeah, but I don't think.
And
Cersei
he really favors the kids.
I don't think Cersei would have sex with Pycelle.
Not Cersei.
Oh, wait, who?
Joanna.
No.
And you got to remember, he has all the poisons, so he could use some of that sweet sleep.
Oh, I got you. Hey, he is a creepy old man, so you never know.
That's where I was going with this. He's a creepy old guy.
I just think he freaking.
I definitely don't think Joanna went along with it. If that's what you're saying.
I think he just was like Tyrion. He just freaking whores, because I mean, we see a few scenes where he's got prostitutes. So I just think he's like Tyrion. And he just sleeps with prostitutes or young vulnerable women, like that woman at the wedding. And then Cersei was like, bothering him because he's trying to talk to that woman, and Cersei started bothering him. So maybe he just goes after, prostitutes and young vulnerable women.
For sure. For sure.
He probably used the services of Roz once or twice. I wouldn't. Yeah.
She seemed pretty bored in that scene.
Yeah.
But he does have that sneaky, I don't know if you ever saw the scenes that were cut from the show.
The one where Tywin's doing the fish thing and he was like, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay, I remember that one, yeah.
Yeah. And he does that in that sex scene with Roz too. Where as soon as she leaves, he's like doing jumping jacks, like a young guy.
I forgot all about his scene with Roz. That's why I forgot all about that.
Just blocked it from your memory. Good.
Yeah.
I liked Roz too much. I can't see that. So you don't think, Lav, that Pycelle's Jaime and Cersei's parent, our father?
No. Okay. I don't want. I don't
Too icky to go there, huh?
Blending. No, thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't either, but it's fun. It's fun to talk about. I mean, we've heard every other conspiracy, right? So why not that one?
Yeah, everybody is somebody else's kid, so it's possible.
Exactly. So the last one that I wanted to talk about was Maester Aemon at the Wall. Obviously, we see him an awful lot, and we see him interact with a lot of characters that we like. What was your opinion of Maester Aemon, Lav?
I think, I think Maester Aemon's my favorite, and I'm glad he got a good death. He got to grow old and just die naturally, which most poor people in this book cannot. But I liked him. I feel like he really had the Wall's best interests at heart, and he really did have the kingdom's interests at heart. So he's one of my favorites, and he saw potential where other people would just dismiss him. So yeah, he's actually my favorite of the Maesters.
Oh, nice. LT?
Oh yeah, like one of my favorite scenes of the whole, whole series, I would say, is the scene where Maester Aemon's talking to Sam, and he tells him how she was as real as you are right now, and he's just talking about this woman that he loved, and that's just an awesome scene. But I mean, how often do we see it in stories, or I don't even know if we've seen this in real life in history. Maybe I could go back, of somebody passing up the throne to become a servant and go serve people. It's just so noble. And also the scene where John comes before Jonas Slant and him, and I can't think of his name right now, but the first ranger. Well, he goes before him and he says, how do you know he's telling the truth? And he's like, I grew up in King Landing. It's just, it's a great character, man. Aemon's a great character.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. To be a Targaryen at that time and pass the throne to Egg, who we fell in love with in The Knight's Tale, and the Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Sorry about that. I cut you off. We were just talking about Marrow the Mage recently, and we were saying how Marwyn the Mage mentioned how they didn't want Aemon to be in the Citadel because possibly the Grand Maester conspiracy, and so that's why I think too that Aemon probably has nothing to do with it. He's probably clean on it.
Hey, would you do me a favor, LT, and say hi to Tony Teflon?
Hey, what's up,
in the
Tony?
chat.
Yeah, I can't. I could look at the chat, but only when sometimes. But yeah, what's up, Tony? Big shout out.
No
yeah,
kidding.
we were talking about how I what's your name again, dear? Oh, Levite. I'm sorry, I messed it up.
Lav.
We were talking about how you know, we all were commenters at one time, and that's before I made videos. I was a commenter on Tony's channel, and everybody in the Heights Watch were all commenters on Tony's channel. So we are all commenters at one point, you know.
Awesome.
So yeah, your video on, was it Friday night or Thursday morning?
Yeah, yeah.
LT
Uh-huh.
was one of the reasons that I really wanted to have you on, because you had mentioned the fact that the Citadel, where all these maesters go to school, was a lot like the Vatican.
Yeah.
And when I was doing my research on this, I found that, you know, one of the words that is used in regards to the maesters is conclave, which, as we know, is when they pick a new pope, they have a conclave, and then the black smoke rises, and until they actually pick one, and then the white smoke rises. And it just reminded me of the white doves that come out of the tower when they do the winter is here. So very, very cool, LT. I thought it was worth commending you for on that video.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, very cool. So what other things did you think caused you to say that it was like the Vatican?
Well, my main evidence for it is all the stuff that they have in there that we can't see. Like a lot of books, we cannot go in there and just go in their library. You know, it's like you got to be a pope or a cardinal, or you have to be a priest. And you know, there's rumors. Like from watching, what really fascinated me about watching Da Vinci's Demons is Leonardo da Vinci gets in there, and this is complete fiction. This is just, you know, but you know, they got the staff that supposedly pierced Christ, the shroud. You know, it could be there's stuff we will not ever see that's in there, knowledge that we won't. You know, supposedly I've heard rumors that there's proof that aliens exist in there. I mean, these are just conspiracy theories, but you know, it's just all the knowledge, and that's probably what the Citadel's like, you know, knowledge that we can't see. And in the latest season, when Sam goes in there, he looks like a kid in a candy store seeing all those books, and Sam's going to get to see a lot of that knowledge.
Lav, what do you think? Is there a comparison to the Vatican in your mind?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I have thought that before. And it's strange because he built the Maesters, right? The Society of Maesters, or whatever they're called. And he kind of modeled them after the Vatican and the Catholic hierarchy, and they're totally not religious. They're the science people of Westeros, and I think that's cool. That he modeled the people that are like the secular people after a Catholic, the Catholic hierarchy. I thought that was cool of him to do. But yeah, I definitely see it, and also the way they exclude women, the celibacy thing. Yeah.
That's never good, right?
No.
Men should never be celibate, right?
No, nobody should ever be required to be celibate.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that Sam's going to change. What do you
it
think?
Always backfires. It always backfires. Look at all the guys on the wall that are supposed to be celibate. They're over there in the old town, you know, with the whores. Look at Pycelle's got his whore. It never works. You can't tell people not to have sex. It's in our genes to do it.
Yeah, I definitely, if I was a maester, I would be frequenting brothels, and I couldn't stay celibate my whole life. And, you know, I think it's very messed up, and I don't want to disrespect anybody who's Catholic, but, you know, if you go back to the Catholic Church founds their religion on, you know, the apostles. All of them were married. All the apostles were married. Peter, all of them. You go back there, all married. So, I don't know why they don't let the priests marry. I think they should be able to marry.
Oh yeah, I'm
Catholic.
I agree.
Yeah, I grew up Catholic too. I think it's one of those things that you just kind of shake your head at when you become an adult.
Paul says that there's a scripture where Paul says if you struggle with impurities, find a wife.
Like at 12 years old. Yeah, that's pretty funny. So obviously they go to school, if you will, at the old town, which I always thought was in Dorne. For some reason or other, I always had it in my mind that that's where it was. But and I guess it's because the Illyria, or not Illyria, I'm sorry. What's their name? The sand snake that is the Sphinx.
Oh, Sorella.
Sorella.
Yeah.
So, I just assumed it was because she was there and they were that close and that sort of thing. But yeah, very cool.
How many chains did Oberyn forge? I can't remember. Was it like 3 or 4?
What Sorella did?
No, Oberyn. He forged a few
6.
chains. He didn't.
Yeah,
okay.
6.
And it's 8. It's 8 for a maester.
That's a funny thing. I didn't find anything specific. So if anybody knows in the chat, just let us know. But I know it's not all of them. You don't have to have all of them.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I know. Yeah, Oberyn got bored, right? That's why he left. He said he was bored, and he just went in there and forged. Yeah. And I had a question that I made a video of mine from a long time ago, because I used to do a lot of questions, and I ask, people who watch my videos questions, and I wondered, where did they get all the, the Valyrian steel is one of the links on the Maester's thing. And I was wondering, where did they get the Valyrian steel from, Because there's only a few swords. I was like, do they have like a big-ass block of it, somewhere hidden, and then like somebody goes in there and melts it down, and then they put it, something. I just always wonder that.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe they reuse the links from the chains on the maesters that die.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Definitely a good question, because it comes from somewhere, and we're going to talk about Marwyn in a little bit, but he's got Valyrian steel mask and stuff, so he's got more than his share of what's in there. So yeah, very cool. One of the things that's I wanted to bring up too is because it's in where the Citadel is where Hightower is, where the family Hightower is, and that's one of the reasons why we get started into this whole Maester conspiracy, is because Barbary Dustin starts whining about the Hightowers and their influence on the Maesters. But when you were reading through all 5 of the books, did you find that there was anything strange about the fact that the Hightowers were where the Citadel was?
I don't.
You can go first.
Oh yeah, Lev, go ahead.
Oh, well, they're the ones who founded it, right? They were the ones who.
Well, they certainly funded it, and I don't know if founding is the right word, because we don't really know how old the Citadel is, and it's really a lot older than what we think in regards to the stories. But again, history is always written by the victors, so we don't really know for sure.
Well, I feel like they've kind of taken a life of their own, even if they did, help them get their start or whatever. I think the Maesters have their own agenda. I don't really feel like the Hightowers. I'm sure they have a part of it, but I don't think they're the ones calling all the shots or anything like that.
LT, did you get that impression that the Hightowers were influencing the Maesters?
Well, I've like I never thought about it until I saw Preston Jacobs' series, where he mentions the Hightowers from the old, and we don't actually meet a Hightower, and they're mentioned, but we don't meet none. The only one we see is Gerald Hightower, the White Bull. But I'm hoping that in the Winds of Winter we meet some Hightowers, because they're definitely there. They're definitely talked about, but we don't see them. There's a lot of houses we haven't seen, and maybe we'll find more about that in the Winds of Winter. Yeah, definitely.
I just want to say hi to everybody in the chat. Jen, Renee, T-Baby, Alicia Kingston, Johnny the Irish Wildling, all you guys that are in the chat. Thank you. Spots is there. The Iron Underneath, Marie Hill, Tony Teflon, again, thank you for being here. Just really I'm glad that you stopped by. And yeah, in regards to the high towers, you know, Jorah Mormont's wife, the one that he actually took the prisoners and sold them to as slaves, that she's a high tower. And I thought that was really an interesting conspiracy kind of a thing,
Isn't it?
because why would, sorry, go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying it was mentioned that she favored Daenerys, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah,
maybe
definitely looked like her.
maybe she's a Valerian bastard. I mean, you never know.
We're gonna get
I'm
off
not.
on a tangent on that one.
No, I'm just saying, it's possible if she has violet eyes. Did it say she had violet eyes or just blonde hair and blue eyes?
Yeah, I don't remember the eye color, because that would be almost a dead giveaway if that were the case, but definitely
Yeah.
favored her for sure.
Oh, shout out! Yeah, also shout out to everybody in the chat. I know most of you guys are awesome people. All of you guys are awesome people. I don't know why I said most of you. And big shout out to Iron Tron, man. Always promoting everything. Big shout out to him.
Agree. I second all of that. Or third it.
A third, yeah, exactly.
Third.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, Iron's always tweeting out everything. It's like my life wouldn't be complete if I didn't have him sending the stuff out and always retweeting too. So thank you. But yeah, I thought that was an interesting link between Jorah, Dany, and the Citadel as well. So one of the other things that I wanted to talk about a little bit is in regards to what would happen in regard to the communication between the houses. They use ravens, of course, and they're one of the people that teach you how to work the rookery in the Black Iron Link, is what they call it. But the ravens once were able to communicate with the other houses without any paper. So they were one of the first people that either diminished the raven's ability or were able to control that in some way. And I just thought that was a interesting add-on to what they do, because they're always some people would say that they're trying to control what magic is available to people. So I didn't know if you knew about the ravens or if you thought them working with the ravens was any different. LT?
Yeah, it's funny because I totally spaced that out, and it was Jerry mentioned that when we did our last video about the Ravens being able to talk before, the Maesters could use that. And it's funny because when you find out that Blood Raven, could be in all the Ravens, and when he talks, you think that every Raven could be Blood Raven. But when I went back and I'm thinking, oh no, they did talk before. Maybe not every Raven is Blood Raven. Maybe they just from generations they know how to say a few words. Like the funny one is in the beginning when the corn,
Mormont's raven.
Yeah. And then the snow, and it's like maybe I guess they're like little parrots, but I totally agree. They are trying to control the knowledge. They don't want everybody to have all the knowledge, They're controlling the magic, what's out there, and keeping it for the bloody selves.
Yep. What do you think, Lav, about the ravens?
Yeah, I think it's just one part of them controlling the knowledge, because despite what Cersei says, knowledge is power. And right now, the Maesters are the ones who have the most knowledge. So if they're the ones who can write, because I think, doesn't Lady Dustin say that even some lords can't write?
Exactly. The Maesters have to read it for them.
So, yeah, knowledge is power. And, every society where you see somebody trying to keep knowledge away from people, it's because they're trying to control those people. So that's why, women can be maesters, because women are second-class citizens in this society. And that's why the peasants and stuff don't get educations, because if they do, they're going to learn, like, hey, we've got the shit end of the stick and we can rise above this. So, yeah, definitely
Very true.
The Maesters are controlling the power, And magic is something that can't be controlled. So it would be in their best interest to try and minimize magic as much as possible.
So that actually brings me to a point that I think is we have a couple of examples where the Maesters are going astray, if you will. One of them is Qyburn, who resurrects the mountain, and then Marwyn, who travels through places that he has no real purpose of being there other than to explore magic or find other arts that he could bring back to the Citadel and possibly teach. So what was your impression of Marwyn when you were reading him? LT, you want to take this one?
Marwyn is definitely a fan favorite, and we don't see too much of him. We see him in one chapter, and it's just what it is it gives you a lot of wonder, and you want to know what more he could do. He's heading to Dany, and I just think it'd be so cool if he could bust out a healing spell, shoot a fireball out of his hand. I would be like, wow, or do something, like it's cool it's a lot of speculation on what he could do, and I'm just really excited to see what he could do. I mean, he's up there in the Citadel trying all these crazy things and talking in glass candles, just a cool character that we just want to learn more about. I want to learn more about, I think you're muted again, John.
Sorry about that, Lav.
Right.
What do you think?
As far as Marwyn, oh yeah, Marwyn's one of those characters you want to get to know. You want to know what he's thinking, what he's planning, and what he knows, because he seems to know about this master plan. He seems to have all that inside knowledge. So you definitely want to know what he knows. As far as like some maesters not going for the whole science over magic thing, it seems to me in this world that magic is like genetic. It's passed down through genes. So those maesters might have something in their genes that gives them power. And power would be like magic would be a power that would be very desirable. It wouldn't be something most people would want to push away. So if you're a maester and you have that, you might be more inclined to not want to minimize magic if you've got that in you. So
right, if you have the Valyrian steel link and you can use it, why would you want to diminish that, right?
Yeah, exactly. Not a lot of people would push away that kind of power.
That's cool. Very cool. And Qyburn the same way for you, LT?
Qyburn is scary, man. That dude scares me. The crazy shit he's up to, like we see in the show with the Franken Mountain and in the books, and just what else is he up to that we're not seeing? He could probably be bringing back more people, and he's just very, very mysterious. And like, I hope in the Winds of Winter he dies too, because this dude is the opposite of Marwyn. He's up to no good, and he's evil.
Yeah, he does some stuff in the dungeons for Cersei that is kind of creepy, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
I mean, even besides the mountain resurrection.
Doesn't he do stuff with like women? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Justin in the chat says that he is just a front in regards to him getting kicked out of the Citadel. I've never heard that before, so that's pretty interesting, Justin. Thanks. But yeah, Qyburn is one of those guys that I just don't. He's so different than the books. He's just so creepy in the books that the show makes him seem kind of grandpa-ish, compared to how he is in the books. I'm maybe just me, but that was my opinion.
Yeah, he's definitely more scary in the books than he is in the show. Like the show, you kind of, I don't know. I do get that grandpa vibe. When Cersei gets done with her walk, and he's like, introducing them out, and he does got that grandpa thing. And then when he's with the little kids too, and he gives them sweets, you get that grandpa feeling.
No, no, I totally gotcha. It's like Christmas time, Here come get your candied plums.
And it's
That was
crazy how freaking Rob saved them in the show. He's all almost dead, and Rob saved him. And
yeah. He goes from being almost dead at Harrenhal to being the hand of the queen.
yeah,
So, Lav, when you were watching the show, I know you're a big reader of the books too, but how different was that for you watching Qyburn?
Well, I mean, Qyburn in the books is definitely slimier and just way more disturbing. But in the show, yeah, I get what you guys are saying with the grandpa thing, but he's more like that creepy grandpa that'll make you sit on his lap, like gross grandpa. But yeah, like in the books, he's way more disturbing, and he's definitely like a Dr. Frankenstein. I think he does not care who funds his crazy experiments as long as he gets them done. As long
You
as
think that's his motive, is to
Yeah.
find someone that can provide him a place and not criticize him for his experiments?
Oh yeah. To me, that's Qyburn's motive. He just wants to do, like, I guess maybe he's just got that curiosity, and he just can't stop. He doesn't know when there's no moral lines to his curiosity. He just wants to keep going with his experiments, and he found the perfect patron in Cersei. Like, she'll let him do whatever he wants as long as she gets what she wants. So they're kind
whatever.
of in hell.
Like if Qyburn was like, Cersei, we need to have sex, and trust me, it's for the good of the realm. You think she would do it?
I think Cersei's stupid enough to fall for it if he sells it to her right.
Giving it up for Qyburn. Oh my goodness.
Spreads it for her.
If it will say Jamie, by all means, Qyburn, let's do it.
Yes, I do think she would.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. No, I don't think we'd be where we are now, medicine-wise, if there wasn't for a few Qyburns in our past. But yeah, that is kind of creepy what he does, and I don't think we actually know the extent of the problem that he has. So it's pretty cool. But do you get the sense that if Qyburn was a maester and there was a conspiracy, you don't think that he would have said anything to Cersei in regards to what that would have been?
Possibly. And one thing I just noticed is Qyburn probably thinks that he has, and this is definitely only show-wise, not book-wise, but Qyburn probably thinks he has control of the little birds, but I guarantee they're still loyal to Varys, and I bet you that could come back to bite Qyburn in the ass when Dany invades. Maybe he thinks, oh, the little birds are loyal to me, but they're probably still loyal to Varys.
It's a good point.
I hope they are.
Yeah, it depends on, obviously in our mind, he's only been gone for a short period of time, but as long as he's doing things like Qyburn did, where he got rid of the father that was beating the mother and that sort of thing, I don't think Varys will still have a whole lot of grip on them, but it could be. It very well could be.
Didn't they say, but I like Lord Varys. He gives us sweets.
Yeah, and what did he do? He pulled out a whole box of them. Like,
yeah.
Here you go. You want sweets? I can get sweets for you. That's an easy, that's an easy pull. Very cool. So with Marwyn and Qyburn being both the odd people, when you're doing your reading, what did you get the impression that there was any kind of a conspiracy, or did you think these are individuals, Pycelle and Luwin and Aemon, that are just weird guys that they're doing their own thing, and they're learning at their own pace?
Well, now that I think about it, it's not much of a conspiracy. I'm pretty sure about 99% that they did. What it is they basically took out the dragons, and they thought that the dragons were too dangerous for the world. Besides that, I don't really think it's, like, what are they going to do? Control everything? They're going to sit a maester on the Iron Throne? I don't think so. I just think they don't want the dragons to come back. And that's basically what they want is to keep the dragons out. And they probably want to stop Daenerys' dragons somehow,
Lav, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I think it's not so much, I guess, a master plan as far as they're sending ravens to each other and they've got this whole, thing set up. I think it's a cultural thing. They are just instinctively against magic. They're against dragons because they're uncontrollable things and they're all about knowledge and things you can learn. I mean, they work hard to get to where they are. And then you're just going to come with dragons and just destroy all of their hard work. So I think it's kind of like a cultural thing within them that when they get the opportunity to suppress magic and to get rid of dragons, they take it more often than not. There's just a handful that are more inclined to go for magic.
Yeah, I totally agree. They're naturally drawn to the knowledge, and like in the case of Yandel, the one that did the World of Ice and Fire, when you read his story, it was just basically a foster kid that was adopted by a maester that taught him, and he just caught on very, very quickly. And I think if you'll read some of the stories from some of the other maesters that we don't necessarily know, they're in a similar situation. They're their third or fourth child, et cetera, et cetera. So I don't see the maester conspiracy that has been presented before, but I do know that they do control a lot of the knowledge, and they do store an awful lot of books, which is where a lot of this knowledge is kept. But they're also responsible for who's in charge of what and where, and so I think that's a pretty big task. And to go to school and to learn that is a privilege. So I'm not sure what you guys think in the chat, but I think personally, I don't see much of a conspiracy, if you will. But Lav, you said you did after having this discussion. Would you say you still agree?
Well, I mean, that's what I mean when I say there's like a conspiracy. I think they all, well, not all. I mean, there's like a few rogues, right? But they suppress magic. They don't want dragons coming around, and they're willing to kill an entire species, because dragons are animals. They're a species. They seem to be intelligent, and they're willing to kill them off because they don't want this uncontrollable aspect in the world. So to me, that's like the Maester conspiracy, and that's what I mean when I say I believe there is a Maester conspiracy.
Makes sense to me. What about you, LT?
Well, like I said, they want to take out the dragons because think about it. Okay, in our world, if you have the nuke, you have the say. All the main big countries have the nuke, like Russia, us. I'm not going to go and name them all, but they basically have the say on what's going on in the world. Other countries that don't have the nuke basically could get bullied by them. But anyways, Dany has the nuke, and they know she could basically do what she wants, and they're probably shaking in their boots because they know if Dany takes over everything, she could have a lot of say in what's going on and change a lot of stuff. They don't want that change. But maesters are also needed if you think about it, because, I mean, look at the Hound when he was gravely wounded, and he said, unless there's a maester behind there, I'm probably dead. And this is one thing. Oh, here's another thing, another question I had too. All right, so when you go off to war, you got, I believe, and somebody answered this because I asked this question, you got a battle in Westeros, and you got like a bunch of wounded people. And who's healing all these people? It's not 100 maesters, or maybe there's an apprentice they train that's just like to heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I'm assuming because Luwin didn't go with Robb, he stayed back at Winterfell. So I wonder who was healing, or I guess not wet nurses, but you know, like kind
Silent
of like
Sisters.
like Talisa, she was
Yeah.
healing the sick and stuff. You know,
Yeah, they had
but there's
Septons and Silent Sisters.
yeah, but they are needed because, and you know, I was thinking about it. There's a lot of maesters in this series. If you think about it, there's probably one for each house. There's a lot of houses.
That's the higher the house, the more likely you're to have a maester. So the houses that are hold fast that don't have one, they're looked down upon.
Also, like somebody like the Mountain, his whole fast probably doesn't have a maester.
The Mountain, no, they would definitely, because they're part of the Lannisters family,
Oh,
so
okay.
they would be high up. But yeah, I was just trying to think of an example of a family, because most of the ones that we know by name would have a maester. The Mormonts, you know, the Glovers, etc., from the north, and
Yeah.
Hightowers, obviously, but just about everybody from the Reachwood, because the Citadel's right there. Dorne, I'm not sure how many houses in Dorne would have, but let's not talk about Dorne. I don't know about you, but I'm all dorned out. So
The only thing I have to look forward for Dorne is seeing the actress that plays Nymeria, because I think she's drop dead gorgeous. So that's the only thing I care about seeing from Dorne anymore.
okay, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one.
I was gonna say, isn't that one of the things Lady Dustin is complaining about? She says she's complaining how the maesters have all this power, and the houses are kind of pressured to have a maester, because if you don't have a maester, you're a nobody. So everybody's kind of required to have these people that have so much power in their house.
For sure.
Complains about. So I take things she says with a grain of salt, but that's one of the ones that I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, she's a little, I think we call her petty. Hashtag petty.
I think her whole deal, and this is getting off subject, but I think her whole deal was that Brandon, you know, she thought Brandon was going to marry her, and he deflowered her. So she got butthurt that he wasn't going to marry her, and she just was brokenhearted. You know, I think that's her whole deal.
Good choice of words. Deflowered, butthurt. Yeah, all good words.
And maybe, but then again, maybe Brandon does what a lot of men do out there, and probably made her promises and told her he loved her, and he was, you know, that's why she got butthurt. You know,
LT, don't let out everybody's secret, man.
But I mean, how long ago was this? Like 30 years? Like,
Yeah,
No.
I know.
Get over it.
Ridiculous.
It's time to get over it.
Yeah.
Dead.
Hashtag get over it. Yeah, exactly.
Get
Yeah,
over
she'd
it.
already had remarried, and he died. So
You know what's funny is the maester that looks the most intimidating out of all of them is the one that set the dread fort on the show. You know, the one that witnessed Ramsay kill Roose, and he's Craven, but he's like 7 foot tall, but he's Craven. It's funny.
yeah, he's coming back next year too, which is kind of weird. But they don't have a maester in Winterfell, so maybe they're gonna keep him. But for me, I'd want to get a new, somebody
Well,
fresh.
And it's funny because I kind of like in my head when I read and listened to the not Stannis chapter, the Theon chapter.
Yeah,
And you got the maester that pisses himself and everything. I try because I don't have a face for him, but I see that maester and it doesn't match up. Like
right. What you think he's supposed to look like is nothing
Yeah.
like what he is. Yeah,
no.
yeah. But that goes for me. I think that goes for all of the maesters. I always think of them as old grandpa types that teach you how to fish or teach you, things, and they're not. They're just totally different. So I agree.
What if they have like a maester that's young and like kind of like a badass, and then somebody gets possessed and he's like naming some of the gods, like I can't think of their names, but like the power of the mother compels you.
This is why I was glad you came, LT.
Where's
It's like
going with it?
I think he's bringing back the superheroes. Wonder Twins unite. Oh no, I really appreciate you guys coming on. This has been a lot of fun. We're at our hour mark, which is what I promised not to go over, because I know the people in the chat have to have a life, and I really appreciate you guys coming on. It's been a great discussion, and I think after we've talked about this a little while, we kind of see that there is a possible middle ground, that it's not necessarily a conspiracy, but it's definitely controlling the information. So any last words, Lav?
About the Maesters?
Maesters, how much fun you had because it was on AU Pack Mule's channel.
Of course. Of course. You know you're my homie, AU. I've got Small John and Great John with me today. And I got an Exorcist reference. Horror girl, you couldn't make me happier. So yeah, thank you guys for watching me. Thank you, my chat. I love you guys. So
LT, anything you want to part with as far as Maesters or what's going on with your channel? Or because I know you've got the dream sequence and
yeah, I haven't really done one of those in a while, but I was just gonna say, you know, only trust a Maester if he's good, like Luwin and Marwyn, but like a majority of them don't trust them because they're probably up to no good. But no, AU, definitely a pleasure to be here. Everybody in the chat room, if you're not subscribed to AU Pac-Man's channel, subscribe. This guy's big things in the future, and just a pleasure to be here.
And I didn't even have to pay him to say that. Isn't that awesome? No, honestly, LT, it's been a pleasure following you. I just think that your knowledge on the show and in the books is diminished with some of the videos that I've seen, and I think just listening to you and having ask questions, it's just been a lot of fun watching you, to be honest with you. I really enjoy it. You're a great addition to the Hypes Watch, and I like watching your videos on your own too. You have an interesting take on the way things go, so it's always a pleasure watching you. Again, thank you very much for being here. Thank you all for coming out, and hope you guys can join me again. Hopefully on Saturday we'll be doing a video on Westworld episode 3 with Iris Black and Johnny the Irish Wildling. Hopefully that'll be coming up soon. And thanks very, very much for coming out tonight. Like it if you like it. If you don't, hit the unlike button. I don't care. It's fine. Just as long as you let me know what we could do better for you. Hope you enjoy it. Have a great night, and thanks again, everybody.
Bye, everybody.